Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Prime Real Estate, Ric Davis.
And I'm your host, the Texas Real Estate King, LarryWBrooks.
Every week, the King and I will provide you exclusive access to our network of lenders, investors, and real estate professionals from both the commercial and residential real estate sectors.
Now, are you millionaire minded? Or maybe you're a millionaire in the making. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get connected to the network. And always remember, the Prime Real Estate Network, where millionaires are in the making.
Create wealth for generations.
What's up, Prime Real Estate Network listeners? It's your man, Larry W. Brooks, a.k.a. the Texas Real Estate King. Hey, when you get a moment, go ahead and go over to shoplwb.com. You can see the Pure Hustle merchandise that we had over there, some of our newer items that we have in stock, and of course, I got all the books that I've authored. I'd love for your support. You have a great day.
Good day. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, feel free to reach out to me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this week, live from the Brooks and Davis Education and Training Center here at 2600 South Loop West, here in Houston, Texas. Man, we have a really exciting show lined up for you all, and we're really excited to bring this week's guest to you. I want to invite everyone who's checking us out live on Facebook or YouTube to get involved in today's show by leaving myself or the Texas Real Estate King a relevant real estate question. You can put it in the comment section, and you never know. Your question may very well be answered on today's show. I want to take some time to introduce my co-host. He is not only a highly successful real estate broker, he is a multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, and a proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand. I want to thank him so much for sitting in with us this week, and I want to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience, the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. What's going on?
Hey, I can't complain, Rick, man. Another day getting at it. And, you know, one of the things that always excite me is that it's another Thursday, right? So not that Thursday mean anything different than the weekend when it comes to real estate. But for the most part, we here, we happy, and we making things happen.
Hey, man, big, huge shout out to all the members of our audience that check us out every week at this same time. And for those who check us out on a regular basis, they know that from looking at your background, the Texas Real Estate King has made it back to the city and is holding it down with us at the Brooks and Davis Education and Training Center. So since last week, man, what's been going on in the world of the Texas Real Estate King, and what's been going on this week in the world of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm?
No doubt, man. Not much, man. Just having some success. That's about it, man. The travels I had to do last week were very successful. I'm excited about what's coming up, what's coming down the line, pipeline with that. Yesterday, I was here actually in the office myself, along with some more team members, some 5-star team members. Actually, our super producer, Jay Joseph, was actually a part of a panel where we talked to the Brooks and Davis agents about how to get stronger in their digital marketing era, and helping them more aware of some of the strategies and tools that they could use to go out and be successful in the digital marketing space as a licensed realtor. So just excited about that, man. That went well. And of course, you know, we in real estate, it's always something new. So of course we got news that came down from our National Association of Realtors and stuff like that too, man. So, you know, just the timeline of things.
You know, it's always never a boring moment.
No.
In the world of real estate, in the world of entrepreneurship. So
thanks.
I want to urge everyone in the audience who didn't have a chance to check out your social media training to go to BND TV and look at the rebroadcast of that. It was some really good gems that you brought up and shared with everyone yesterday. Could you share with our audience, Larry, like you do every week, a little bit about this week's guest, how you were introduced and how we were able to get them on the show?
Yes, indeed, man. So this week's guest is on the mortgage side of the profession that we all do, which is without them, we can't do what we do. And so I had an opportunity earlier last year, or close to the end of last year, of attending one of the 5-star 5-Star Events, which is one of the organizations or the teams that are part of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. They were hosting their annual Christmas party / award ceremony. And today's guest was actually a sponsor of that. I thought she was amazing. I heard her get up and speak and just kind of talk about some of the business that she had done with that team. And man, when you walk in and bump into people like that, man, you definitely want them to be able to share their value to different audience. And so I want to bring her to a bigger audience, which was the Prime Real Estate Network and who it is that and the things that we offer, man. And so I reached out to her. It was very easy. She had no problems coming on. And this is what she do. She's in the service industry when it comes to what we do and providing life-changing opportunities when it comes to home ownership for people. And so her being able to accept us being able to have her as an opportunity to be on the show was easily accepted, and I appreciated her for being here.
No, and I want to thank you so much for reaching out to her, because today's episode, and I urge everyone in the audience, share this link, share this episode, let everyone know, because today's guest is a real estate investment funding expert. So if you and a group want to learn about how to pool your resources, how to maximize your investing power, how to truly take advantage of all the opportunities that they have here in the great state of Texas from a real estate investment standpoint, today's show and this expert is tailor-made for you. So I want to take some time to introduce this week's guest. She is not only, like I mentioned, a real estate investment expert, but she's also a mortgage broker and an entrepreneur. I want to thank her so much for sitting in on the Prime Real Estate Network pod. And I'd like to introduce to our audience, Miss Cenaca Cyprian. How are you?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Doing amazing.
Thank you so much, man. Larry and I were really excited to have you sit in with us. So without any further ado, could you please introduce yourself, your company to our audience, and talk to our audience a little bit about the services you provide to the greater Houston community at large?
Yes. Well, first, I want to thank both of you for having me on your show today. I'm excited. My name is Cenaca Cyprian. I'm a mortgage broker, owner of Quality Lending Group located in Houston, Texas, in the 3rd Ward area. I'm licensed in 6 states, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, that's my hometown, Jackson, Florida, did I say Georgia, and Illinois. So those are my 6 areas that I focus on. But of course, Houston is my bread and butter. That's my city. That's where I live. So majority of my business is in the Houston, Texas area. We do, I'm a mortgage broker. I consider myself a one-stop shop. So I help people on a residential side, investing, commercial, and just building their portfolio when it comes to building generational wealth. We do first-time home buyers to jumbo loan investing, building from the ground up construction, fix and flips, rental, buy and holds, you name it. If it requires a loan, more than likely we do it.
I thank you so much for sharing that information, because what makes you being on the show so valuable and so powerful for our audiences, because you mentioned how you're licensed in multiple states, which gives all your clients opportunities to look in those areas to take advantage of what they may find there from a real estate investment perspective. The reason why I'm so excited to have you talk to the audience that we have here in Houston is because Larry and myself meet so many new investors, those who have aspirations and real estate investment goals, but sometimes look at the prices of properties, some of their specific areas they may feel like are more valuable than they have bandwidth to cover. So could you talk to our audience about how you help investment groups, how you can help friends, family, those who want to pool their resources to get investment funding? Because I think that's a pretty underreported aspect of your business that I think could help empower so many people to start generating that wealth for generations that you mentioned.
Yes, that's true. So I think it's the wealthy. Let's just start here. The wealthy has been doing this for a long time, just bringing family, pulling all their funds together as family or doing business with friends. One, it increases your buying power and you're able to purchase more real estate. So it's always kind of scary, especially as a new first-time investor doing it by yourself. And when you're doing by yourself, it's a lot that you don't know. It's a lot that you may make mistakes. So having somebody else, whether it's a family member or a friend or a group of friends, come together, have a pool, bring all their resources together, and just tackle one property. You know, you purchase that one property. You can start off with a duplex. Just get 2 doors first, and then you can build it from the ground up, which I highly recommend. You know, partner up with a builder or contractor, build a property from the ground up. Get your budget first. You know, make sure you identify your market. Run your comps, and making sure you're purchasing in a good area where you can get a good return on your investment. Thanks. Buy that 2 doors, sell it, and start over again, and just keep repeating that process. And the next thing you know, instead of doing 2 doors, you can move up to 3 doors, and you can move up to 4 doors. And then there's a lot of different loan products out there for first-time investors that if you don't want to build, you can just buy a 2-door, and you can use products that's called a DSCR loan, where you can purchase real estate without even using your income to verify. Now, I don't recommend if you're trying to like buy and sell. Those are more tailored to buying and holding if you want to build your rental portfolio.
Yes, ma'am. You know, I appreciate you sharing that information, because I'm sure there's members of our audience who were aware that there were first-time home buyer incentives and opportunities, but those first-time investor opportunities definitely aren't spotlighted with that same intensity. So could you just start from the beginning with our audience and talk to them how they should even organize their finances before they make the call? Or are you in a position to actually take the call and consult with your clients and help them organize that after your first introduction? How does that go in your world?
Yeah, so that's what I feel like sets me apart from others in the industry. When a client comes to me, the first thing I'm doing is I'm building that trust. I'm all about transparency, and then trying to come up with a game plan, because everyone has unique situations when it comes to financing. There's no one size fit all. So that's why I try to tell my clients from the jump, just because your brother did this, that doesn't mean it's going to work the same way. So let's come up with put a customized game plan in place that fit your needs. Or if you're doing it as a group, especially when I'm working with multiple people, everybody have a different credit score, we have different income brackets. So if somebody may have $100,000 saved up, this person may have $20,000. So just coming up with a plan that fits their goals or what they're trying to do.
I want to ask this question to Larry, because Mr. Brooks, you have experience with pooled investment groups, and your experience here, especially investing in Houston and other areas of the country. Ms. Cyprian spoke about mitigating the risk when you're not investing as an individual and you're part of a group. In your experience, Mr. Brooks, how have you found the value in a more group or a pooled investment perspective from that standpoint?
Well, yeah, definitely. But I even more importantly than that is just being able to sit down with someone in the beginning of the process and understand what that structure needs to look like. That's the biggest part of it, right? Because like she said, some people may have more financial resources, and then you may want to be a part of it, but you need to understand that your percentage might be different if you're not walking in the same exact direction. But I've seen pulling together and putting money to be very, very positive, right? Like at the end of the day, you can buy more. It gives you a better opportunity on return, depending on that you can buy something that you need. Now, I've been a part of some that have been really, really small and some that have been really, really big. But ultimately, the most important thing that we all did in the beginning is we sat down and we understood what that was going to look like, put it in writing, and we executed on that plan. So it was always a very seamless process. So definitely, getting consulted by a professional, especially where you're going to be growing or getting the finances from, because a lot of times when people get that money together, they're thinking, oh, we'll just take this and we'll pay for it in full. No, you can use your money to work in a different direction. You can save that money as have more capital available for you, just by putting like a mortgage loan or a good mortgage product in place that you ain't got to be in forever, but is one that you can work in the beginning to hit your ultimate goals.
Yeah, I agree.
Seneca, when you hear Mr. Brooks, what popped into your thought bubble? Because I can see your wheels turning. So what does that make you? How does that make you feel when you hear someone talk about their experiences? And what would you like to share to our audience for those who don't have the same experience that Mr. Brooks has?
So when he was talking, the first thing that popped in my head was the risk, right? As a lender or as an investor, we're looking at how do we like could have less risk going into this deal. And when you have different people, different income brackets, everyone have like pulling their money together, it mitigates the risk. And that investor is looking at it like, okay, I can do this deal. Because I feel like if anything was to happen down the line, it's not just one person that's responsible. If and I don't want to talk about default on a loan, but it is what it is. They look at that. If it's multiple people, they're like, okay, you have multiple people on the line for this loan, so therefore your chances of being able to secure financing is greater.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I thank you so much for sharing. I know a lot of times, especially when people are doing things for the first time, having a group of people to bounce ideas off of, to be each other's support system. And like you mentioned, in that unfortunate circumstance where someone were to go through financial difficulties, other members of the group could make sure that they put their arms around that person, keep everything moving in a positive direction until that person can get back on their feet. So I agree with both of you all. I think that is something that everyone in the audience needs to heed and add to their way of doing business, especially if this is something that they think they're really interested in doing.
So, do you have a favorite part of the mortgage process that you like? I know you can't pick and choose like, oh, I love first-time home buyers, or I love sellers, or however that may look for you, but do you have a particular part of the business that when you get that phone call or you get that email, you're like, oh yeah, this is about to be a home run? How do you look at that? Do you have a favorite part?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. And that's hard to say because oh my goodness, I would probably say, I think my favorite part is when I get that investor is looking to build something from the ground up.
Okay.
Like, and that's an area honestly that I don't really play in a lot, but just seeing someone like getting their plans together, sitting down with their builder, their architect, getting their budget together, picking out the location, a perfect lot, and knowing like this is going to, whether it's from an investment side or this is going to be their primary home, but seeing that person building that house from the ground to finish, that's like, I love it. To be able to be a part of that process. Yeah.
So let me add another thing. How are things going with VA loans nowadays? Are they still as popular as they were in the past? Are they still like really good products for? I've always thought that they were the best product out there. Or do you still find that there's some of the strongest products for those people that have VA loans or have access to VA loans?
It is. That's my second favorite, to be honest. It's when you asked me the question in my head, I was thinking, my veterans. That's my favorite. Because it's funny that you asked, because I'm actually doing you can say a market analysis on the VA market. And I'm doing lead generation to them and just focusing on veterans, because it is one of those markets where they tend to get taken advantage of, unfortunately, especially by the bigger institutions, because, I don't want to name drop, but some of the bigger institutions that say they for the veterans, but they really not. And they don't understand with veterans is so much that they can do. And the VA loans they're very lenient and forgiving. So if a person made typical loan products, you need to have a 620 credit score to qualify, or 580. With VA loans, you can go down to 500 credit score. And a lot of people don't realize that. And a lot of banks, you know, if you bank with Navy Federal, or I'm gonna just go ahead and throw it out there, you know, the bigger institution, they're like 500 score, like we're not even gonna touch this loan. But it's so many veterans that are out there that qualify and can be able to purchase homes, and they're getting denied. And that's why I come in as a broker. I was just like, oh, let me just, if I can just, you know, educate the veterans and let them know what's out there, what they can and cannot do. Like there can be way more veterans getting home. And I think a lot of people get intimidated by VA loans, even as a lender. There's a lot of lenders that don't really do VA loans because they don't know, because it's a lot of nuances and little tricks and things. You'd be like, oh, I didn't know you can do that. You know, and once you start doing them more frequently, then you'll know like all the different guidelines that are out there that can benefit a veteran to be able to qualify for a home loan.
Wow. Yeah. You know, and that's amazing, because I've always looked at that veteran home loan product as a really good one. You know, like kind of like you said, a lot of times people look at it, they hear about it, and they get intimidated by thinking it's going to be too much paperwork. But I think once you've been able, as a mortgage broker, once you've built in systems and processes and questions and interview, it becomes seamless to you. So I commend you on taking on that. You know, our veterans need to reap the rewards of their sacrifices.
Yeah.
No. So hopefully one day they give me my 40 acres and a mule. I won't mind to look just like the veteran thing. If anybody ever asks my opinion, that's what I say. Your 40 acres and a mule, or what they owe us, or whatever, it needs to look exactly like how the veterans program roll out. Give me that.
Man, those veterans, they get some good benefits. And even just being a veteran purchasing in Texas, and every state is different, but with Texas, if you a disabled vet, you don't even have to pay property tax, especially as a 100% disabled vet. There's no property tax. And that part, I'd be like, man, I probably should have went into the military.
Listen, if this kid don't get no scholarship, he is going to the military in 2 years.
Okay.
Cenaca, I would like to ask you, because you mentioned that you are a native of the state of Mississippi, but you have chosen to reside here in our lovely city of Houston. You practice your trade here in our state of Texas. So there are probably members of our audience that have seen you online, partnered with you, had loans done by you in the past, but weren't necessarily privy to your background and your upbringing, considering that you're not from here specifically. So for our audience who we want to give a little background as far as your upbringing, were there members of your family, close inner circle, that were entrepreneurs and business owners back in Jackson that might have been an inspiration for you to set out on this path of being a business owner? Is there anyone you could credit from that standpoint?
Yeah, so I grew up in a single parent home. My mother, she worked really, really hard. She wasn't a business owner. She worked, probably minimum wage jobs, and she was actually on Section 8. So I didn't come from, having a silver spoon in my mouth. I grew up in the other side of the tracks, where I had to like really work hard to become successful and just help be able to be where I am today. Now, I will say, even though my mom, she was single mom, I did see her. She was always a hustler. She always had a side hustle going on. So that kind of resonated in me. Like, yeah, she probably, barely made enough to keep food in the house, and she kept the lights on, but she always had something going on the side. So seeing her work hard and try to provide for me and my sister, it just made me want more in life. And even just coming back to what I'm doing as a business owner, having my own mortgage company, like my biggest inspiration in doing this is to be able to help other people become homeowners, because I grew up my mom never owned a home. So me I actually purchased my first house at the age of 23, and then just being able to give back and help people in the community to become homeowners, especially us, the people who look like me. It just that's my biggest gratification.
I appreciate you for sharing, because one of the great things about hosting this particular show with Larry is that we have an opportunity every week to sit down with business owners share some best practices, talk a little bit about motivation, inspiration. And I'm really impressed with your story because a lot of times, and Larry can speak to this as well, I think when we all think about our upbringing as children, there are certain adults that stick out for serving as a great example of either stick-to-itiveness or hard work or entrepreneurship or business ownership. And I appreciate you for being so transparent to share a little bit about your mom's grind and how that grind affected you. So I thank you so much because I know it's a busy Thursday. One of the things that Larry and I talk about is how lucky we are that so many successful business owners can carve some time out of their Thursday. Because Larry and I know that a lot of times for business owners, Thursday is getaway day. So we won't keep you all afternoon. But in closing, I'd like to ask you, for the members of our audience that have been intrigued in this conversation, that have been attracted to your aura, your energy, when will there be an opportunity for our audience to come out, meet, greet, and interact with you personally, Ms. Cyprian?
Okay, yeah. So I actually have monthly events. Every first Wednesday, it's called Latte and Learn, where I meet up at a coffee shop. First Cup Coffee is in Pearland, off of like Broadway. I don't know the exact address, but if you look up First Cup Coffee, we meet there every first Wednesday at 10:30. Or is it 10? We went back. So it's either 10 or 10:30. I'm sorry. But it's like an hour and a half. And basically what I do is just do different seminars where I'm teaching on first-time home buyers. It can be how to purchase an investment property, how to do construction loans, like just educating the community on how to purchase a house and how to become a homeowner or an investor.
Also, go ahead and give them your social media handles, your best contact information, your website. I want them to have all of that. I want them to be able to have the ultimate ability to get in contact with you. Okay. So any of that stuff.
So you can find me on Instagram under Quality Lending Group, or that's the business page, or Cenaca Cyprian, and it's spelled, my name is right there. That's my personal page, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook. My website is www.qualitylendinggroup.com, and my phone number is 832-996-3161.
Well, look, Larry and I both want to thank you so much for sitting in. I mean, this is an episode that we've been really looking forward to, and you delivered smashingly with the information, the energy, and also the benefit of your expertise and experience. So thank you so much. And also, I want to commit online in front of the world that if you would ever need a real estate professional to speak at your Latte and Learning, I am letting you know that I am open to return the favor. You sat in with me, so I would love to sit in with you.
Awesome. Thank you.
So please let us know.
Will do.
So if there's any events as well that's coming up in the near future, please let Larry and I know. We would love to share that with our audience, man, because we would love to let you know you have a seat with us anytime you want to share new information or talk about new products that our audience and the membership at large could take advantage of.
Okay, will do. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Look at you, man.
That's a great show, man. I always love when we bring on a mortgage team and a mortgage personality, and they're able to, really exude the energy that they have for the community and people that they help. Because that's really what, in this service industry of what we do, a lot of times they highlight, especially on the realtor side of it, they highlight, income, but it's really about the people at the end of the day. You're not going to get the income if you don't love and show appreciation for the people. And so that's definitely what today's guest has. She has a love and appreciation for people. She has a foundation that she's came from that lets her appreciate the people. And I always thought about that as a kid. My grandmother, I never understood one of my grandmother's decisions. When we was really, really young, our house was falling apart and the city came in and they were going to move us out into an apartment in order to fix the house. But my grandmother was like, no, we did not move into an apartment. She made us move to a shack, which was worse than anything ever. But I understood why. My grandmother grew up in a generation where they understood what could come along with that if they displaced you in the community.
You would never get your house back, right? Exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, she was I understand that now as an adult, but definitely that foundation that was there.
No, man, this was a great interview, man. It was really powerful when she mentioned the first time investor programs.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's something that we should definitely highlight more and make sure we let all those people who may already own their residential properties to let them know that there's still things that they can use to get involved from an investor's perspective.
Yeah.
To generate that wealth, to scale up. So man, that was outstanding, brother. Like we do every week, this is part of the show where we give Mr. Larry W. Brooks the opportunity to share with the audience his schedule for this weekend, so that if there's a possibility to meet, greet, and interact with the Texas Real Estate King, we like everybody in the audience to be able to take advantage of those opportunities if they present themselves. Well,
I will be tomorrow. I'll be heading to Abilene, Texas. My young man is participating in state. It's a rare occurrence. Everyone doesn't get to go to state. It's a big deal. So he's qualified for state. We're going up there to participate. But for those of you that are in the city that's looking to get out this evening, I'll probably be over at Culture Bar. One of our past alumni, Prime Real Estate Network, hosts he owns Culture as well as is hosting a happy hour over at Culture from about 6 to 8, 6 to 9. Culture is located downtown, right across from the Marquee Hotel. It's kind of a part of the George R. Brown Convention Center. Is in that area right there. So if you're in the area, stop by, mix and mingle with some other real estate professionals. I did get an opportunity to attend one other time, and it was a great environment, great fit and fun. So definitely check that out.
Hey, man, there you go, brother. See, now look, I want the members of the audience to understand what type of luxury this is, man. He didn't say Saturday. He didn't say Sunday. He's saying this evening. Get involved. Come out to Culture. Big shout out.
But you know, I'm not letting you jump off here. We've been big news taking place in the real estate industry this week. We can't get off of here without having a sidebar conversation of about 5 to 6 minutes to talk about what's going on. What are your thoughts? When you first heard about it coming down, what was the first thoughts that hit your mind about the lawsuit being settled by NAR? We heard about the lawsuit 6 months ago, so we knew it was taking place, but everyone was under the assumption that it was going to be stretched out for 5 or 6 years, and now we've settled here in the we settled in less than 6 months. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, as like you mentioned, this has been something that's been building for the past 6 months, so I've had quite a while to think about it, get my thoughts together, and I guess if formally, I have been most worried for those first-time buyers. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times, especially in the news media, a lot of the talk has been centered around sellers, those who tend to be more experienced, investors, those that are already on that path to generating wealth. And of course, in this country, everyone wants to maximize profits. I don't have an issue with that. Matter of fact, I would hope that everyone who's selling a property are getting the value from those agents that they were promised during the listing presentations. But when they talk about reducing compensation for buyer's agents or removing them from the process altogether, that makes me really fearful for those first-time buyers who need representation, consultation, they need advice, they need mentorship, they need motivation to a certain extent. And if the buyer's agents are removed from the scenario, what I'm most worried about is those same people going to online resources, AI resources, computer-generated resources, and asking them really nuanced questions that a buyer representative will be best served to answer and guide them through. I would hate to see first-time buyers purchase homes, leave out things like home warranties, that can be really, really, really important. Protecting themselves with mortgage insurance products, protecting themselves with flood insurance products. So when I hear about the NARs and dealing with the court and the settlements, those are the things that make me most nervous for the home buying public at large.
Yeah,
so
I think you touched on a lot of great points, and I think that's the biggest thing here, right? Like, as we sit and we talk about this, this is nothing that they're disclosing is new, right? At the end of the day, in real estate contracts, it was always exposed and explained to sellers, listing agents. Listing agents always did an amazing job explaining to sellers how it is that they was compensated. They always talked about their partnership with other agents from other brokerage firms and how it is that they would compensate them from a portion of their commission. So this was nothing new. This is not something that was hitting or that people didn't know about. In addition to that, one of the things that I guess the silver lining to this situation in the world and the news media and outlets being able to talk about it is a lot of times we as realtors, we needed to always explain to our buyers anyway what our process is, what it is that looks like. I've never worked with a buyer and not got a signed buyer's representation agreement that didn't also say, listen, guys, I'm working with you, but if we choose to move forward with a property that does not, the listing agent decides that they're not going to give me a portion of their commission in order to compensate me, then right here on this part of paragraph, it says that you're going to compensate me. So it's always been that. This compensation thing has always been covered. One thing about real estate professionals or our industry itself is disclosure is everything. So we communicate on all kind of things. So there's nothing that's hidden. It's in bold. It's talked about. It's marked out. But kind of like you said, I think the first-time home buyer is the one that's going to get hit from this, only because, as a first-time home buyer, if I get a FHA loan product, I'm trying to come up with my 3.5% down. Then I got to worry about closing costs, which can range anywhere from 3 to 6%. And now you want me to say, hey, immediately I got to pay another 3% or whatever it is that my listing agent, my buyer's agent decide that they need to be compensated in order to take care of their family, in order to, be able to feed themselves and to be able to give me their knowledge that they went to school for, they've got trained for, that they continue to get educated on in order to be an amazing buyer's agent. Those are the things, right? So at the end of the day, I don't think much would change. I just think that for realtors, we'll just have to do a better job in the beginning of the process of, educating our buyers on what that looks like, meaning that I may have to call this listing agent before we're able to go see this showing. So we may be out looking at properties and we won't be able to show it for an hour, 48 hours until I get in contact with someone versus, being able to show it in an hour because I can call a sign and say, hey, if you don't mind. So I think those are some of the things that'll be challenged as well.
No, and then the thing is, and I want to make sure I mention this to everyone in our audience. Mr. Brooks is not only a real estate broker, he sat on the board, he's met with the representatives of HAR, NAR, he goes to Austin, he's part of TreePack. So from this standpoint, if you're a new agent and you have questions about how to best illustrate your value as a realtor, reach out to myself directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Rick. You can reach out to the Texas Real Estate King on Instagram. We can schedule consultations and sit downs here at the Brooks and Davis office to talk to realtors and agents about how to illustrate your true value so that your clients not only feel as if they need to compensate you, but they're thrilled. Yeah. They feel as if the value that you have provided has put them on a path to generate wealth for generations.
Yeah. And that's what you're saying, Rick. That's the foundation of it right there, right? That's the real foundation of it is that, we're in the public service, right? We do this for the people. Do we get compensated off of it if we do it right? Then yes, and that's in anything that you do, right? Even in our judicial systems, in our congressmen and all these people, they're compensated in some type of form if they're doing the things that they do well and they do it well for the people. So much like you said, just if you need to understand how to display your value, you need to understand really what this looks like and why you don't need to be fearful. Don't be fearful, but learn how to be educated. So you want to choose, for those of you that are new agents that are going through the licensing process right now, reach out to us. Give us an opportunity at Brooks and Davis to explain to you what that dynamics looks like. Explain to you what it is that we do to help you understand your value with being a part of this team that allows you to scale. So, that's my thoughts on it, Rick.
No, I want to thank you too so much, because I do think it was important that we took this time at the end of today's episode for that call to action.
Yes,
so
sir.
I just want to reiterate, new agents, real estate students, those that are aspiring. If you have questions about this, if you have questions on how a realtor really brings value in today's marketplace, reach out to me directly on Instagram. You can reach out to Mr. Brooks on Instagram. We will set up a formal meeting here at our office and go over all the things that we talk to our Brooks and Davis real estate family about on a regular basis. So if you feel like you need some ideas, if you need inspiration, motivation, take Mr. Brooks up on his offer, take me up on my offer. We're here for you 24/7, 365. Hey, brother, I feel guilty, man. I done had you do a little extra overtime, man. It's 5 minutes of bonus basketball, brother. So I appreciate you so much, man. On behalf of myself, Ric Davis, and the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, man, we just a text, email, DM, phone call away. Until next week at this same time, everyone in the Prime Real Estate Network audience, please be safe and be blessed.
Be blessed.